So, hello everybody. This is our final speaker of our 2-day Glow Virtual Wellness Summit. It's been an amazing 2 days with an amazing 7 speakers so far. This is our eighth and final speaker. Kind of sad to see it all over. I was enjoying all these conversations and I hope that you have been as well. So it's this Glow Virtual Wellness Summit is really all about finding tools and tips and tricks and conversations as to what modalities are out there to help us. Well, right now this is for these darker days ahead, but in essence, these tips and tricks and tools can be helpful to us all year round, but just in this moment, this hunter moon, it feels like I certainly feel that we're heading into darker days and that has more of an effect on us, maybe emotionally and so physically as well. And so these are great conversations and tools that we can turn to support us and to help us maybe change or grow and feel a little bit lighter and better through these coming months. So this final speaker that I have today is Vanessa Muri, and she is going to talk to us about women's circles and crystal lithotherapy. So Vanessa is a certified Reiki master and crystal lithotherapist and light language channeler, and also offers transformative women's circles. Her passion is weaving sacred feminine spirituality into ceremony for awakening, healing, and growth. So, Vanessa, I'm super, super pleased to have you here today. And we're going to talk both topics, the women's circles and crystal lithotherapy. I don't even know if some of our viewers may not know what both of those entail. And lithotherapy might be a newer word for some as well. So could you talk to us and introduce yourself and talk to us about what those two mean, and we'll start with that.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first, thank you, Susan, for having me as part of this summit. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I'm super excited to share two of my favorite things, two of my favorite modalities for healing, for on an energetic level and just on a physical and mental, emotional level. Both of these things, as well as Reiki and a lot of the other things you've already covered, really can help. And what I think the greatest thing about crystal therapy, let's start with crystal lithotherapy. So lithotherapy, lithos is the Greek word for stone. So it means stone therapy. So crystal therapy is using crystals and can be gemstones as well, but they're usually crystals in some way or another to affect our energy. And what's great about this as a sort of a self-care or wellness thing to add to your routine is that once you've bought a few crystals, and you don't need that many, and it's not a big necessarily financial investment either, but is that you can give it to yourself anytime. So you don't need somebody else with you to be able to do crystal therapy. You can do it to yourself. And you just need a few, and you can even Google a lot of these things, like what can I use this crystal for? Or if I have this problem, what crystal do I need? But so once you have an idea of what some of these crystals do, you can just apply them to yourself. You can carry them with you. You can wear them in jewelry. And like I said, it's the fact that you can do it to yourself that makes it so simple. It's like using essential oils in your bathtub, or making yourself a really medicinal tea. Very easy to do once you know what they are. And so in terms of crystals, like what they can do for us, it's really more a question of like, what can't they do for us? Because there are so many different kinds of crystals, like thousands probably of different kinds of crystals on the earth. And what's really amazing about crystals is that they're ancient. Like we're really talking ancient. The first crystals that were believed to have formed were somewhere in Australia, and they're like 4.3 billion years old. And that's like 160 million years after the Earth formed. So we're really talking like a very minute part of the time scale. And so for me, what they offer us is timeless wisdom. They have seen literally everything. And so they are able to then share that wisdom with us. And so in terms of what they can do, well, they can help us release negative energies. They can help us remember our more positive states of mind. So let's say if we have a rose quartz, it's not like a rose quartz is known as being like the divine love stone. So rose quartz is a pink stone. I have mine here, which I
Mhm.
like to use.
I have my little one actually in my purse too. Rose quartz is one of my favorite. I have
Yes.
I have
Oh,
the
that's a beautiful wand. Yeah.
wand. Oh, I'm just going to admit somebody again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the wand that I love to use on my face as well for
Mhm.
like facials and acupressure. I love that's one of my favorite things is the rose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rose quartz is great. Rose quartz, if I had to pick a top five stone, that's in my top five. Absolutely. Like rose quartz is, like I said, it's kind of the divine love stone, or you could call it the unconditional love stone, but it really helps you access your, inner love, and then the love that you also give to other people. So it really works on every level. But the thing is, it's not giving you love though. That's one thing I really want to make clear. What it's doing is helping you remember that you are loved. So it's taking away whatever's not bringing you into a love state and helping you release that. And then that's why you feel more loving afterwards, is because you have let go of something that was blocking you. And so yeah, I really want to make that distinction. The crystals don't give you the emotion you're looking for or the feeling that you're looking for. The crystals help you release what's blocking you from naturally expressing what you already have.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. And also, I mean, every crystal has its own energy, its own frequency. It is frequency and energy. And because it's been part of this earth for that many billions of years, they really hold so much power in them because we are taking a piece of what's been there for centuries, and we have to we have to believe that that energy and that frequency is part of this stone. So it's not just a rock, it's a rock that has energy and frequency.
Yes, yes, exactly. And where did that energy come from? Might be someone's question too. Where does that energy within them lie? And the answer to that to me would be in the way that they're formed. Like crystals are formed through a huge alchemical process of transformation, basically. So like metamorphic rocks, for instance. So the perfect example of that would be a coal turning into a diamond, right? A piece of coal, I should say, turning into a diamond. And that's because the amount of pressure that it receives is so intense, it can no longer remain in the shape that it was, and it has to change. And that happens with almost all of the crystals. They're formed either through lava flow or through sediments piling up on the ocean floor for millennia, or these metamorphic ones that just have so much pressure within them in the earth that they turn into something else. And so that is their, if you could water it down to one thing, what does the crystal give us? The power of transformation, because that is how they are made. And so that is what they give to us. They help us transform those negative energies and bring out the ones that already lie within us. So it's really like an alchemical process that's happening.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, crystals, it's like some people it's tattoos, they get one is never enough. Once you start
Yeah.
on that road, it's like, oh, okay, I need another one, I need another one, I need another one. And yeah, for me, it's sort of like my collection continues to grow, and it's like, oh, I need to stop at some point. I don't know if I ever will, though. I have no tattoos yet, so I'm not even going to start down that road because I know how my obsession is with crystals. So,
Yes, for sure, for sure. But the great thing with crystals is you can never well, you could maybe say you could have too many in theory, but you can't really have too many, and you could also can't have too few. Like I said, if someone asked me, look, I just want to keep it simple, what would I do? I would tell them the five crystals that I think these, if you have these five, you're kind of covered because they can pretty much run the gamut, like a lot of pink crystals, for instance, have that love energy. But rose quartz would be the one that I would recommend to somebody if they really just wanted one of them, if you know what I mean. And let's say there are thousands of different black stones, but if a person asked me, well, which one would be the best for protection, I would say this one, black tourmaline, right? So you don't need to have, well, this one does that and this one also does that. It's great to do, but do you need it? No. So just mentioning that for people who are on a budget or for people who don't have a lot of space and they're like, look, I don't have, where would I put all these crystals, right? Like mine are overflowing out of my desk here and like, because I don't have enough space to display them the way I would love to in my home, So I try to keep mine on the smaller side, with this one actually being the largest that I have. Um, but having them out is actually another good point. Is that's another really nice way to use crystal energy. You can use it with yourself, like I mentioned, carrying it in your pocket, or let's say wearing it on a chain or a bracelet. But having pieces in your home, slightly larger pieces, really affects the energy in the home. And so having a piece of rose quartz in the living room, for instance, tends to bring out a more harmonious vibe in the family. So like, especially if you've got kids, younger kids, and you want to try to keep down the fighting or the whatever, having these kinds of things around will support a more loving energy in your home.
mm.
So
So
that's
you
another good way to
touched a
use
little
them.
bit on the idea of having like five. So could you tell us, like, for burnout, people in burnout,
Yes.
specifically who are looking to shift their energy a little bit, can you suggest a few crystals that you would use? I mean, we talked about the love and the pink quartz, but that one is maybe more of a known crystal too, for those that even may not know a lot about crystals. There might be one that's a bit more seen and understood. But do you have like a maybe top three or five? Well, maybe top three for the burnout and then your top five in general.
Sure. I would say for burnout, if you're feeling, yeah, just super depleted, very heavy energy, could be depression, anxiety, or any of those things that go along with stress, or just intense stress, like really not feeling relaxed, then I definitely would recommend a black stone. So black tourmaline would be the one that I would recommend. I don't know if you can see this super well, but it's a really great stone. It offers yeah, it helps absorb anything negative and lets it get released. It also offers a protective barrier. So because sometimes the energy that we've picked up actually isn't ours. Like it's actually not our stress or our anxiety that we're holding on to, but somebody else's, right? So black tourmaline is great at kind of giving you this sort of aura of protection around you. So this is one that I carry on myself anytime I leave the house. Like I just automatically I'm like, where's my black tourmaline, because that way you're way less likely to pick up other people's stuff. It can always still
Oh,
happen.
right. Because actually, that's so true. The energies that we're picking up and making us stressed are not necessarily ourself. It could be, I mean, usually it's because of work, it's because of kids, it's because of the weather, it's because it's the external. If I just lived on a beautiful island and had everything going the way I wanted it to go, I wouldn't be stressed. So it really is like it is the energy of what's around you that's also affecting you, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. And some people are definitely more empathic than others. Although I think that could also be argued as just some people are more sensitive to the fact that they're picking up the energy than others. I think we all probably pick up energy the same, but some of us are really aware that we're picking up other people's energy, and some of us are less aware until we really kind of stop and like maybe meditate and look at why am I feeling like this, right? But we don't always have the time. So for me, the number one stone would be black tourmaline, definitely. And then another great one to use to kind of clear out the aura, but also invite in happiness and calmness would be selenite. So selenite is a really, like I have it in so many different forms. I have like a wand, I have a heart. This is by my bedside normally. Sometimes I like to hold it as I'm falling asleep even. You could put it under your pillow. It's a great under the pillow crystal. And that kind of just combs through your aura. It's like as if it's like a comb. You can kind of picture that it's going through your aura and just taking out anything else that's sort of not serving you at all. And but at the same time, inviting in calmness and serenity. So that would be another great one. And then so that's two. And then I would recommend I can recommend another three. They would all be more colorful stones. So the anything that's yellow or orange is going to give you joy and vitality, or it's going to bring back joy and vitality. So carnelian is another great one to bring back vitality and a feeling of creativity, because that's part of feeling, stressed or burnt out or whatever, is we're just like, I've got no ideas, I've got no inspiration. So this stone would really help bring that back, really connect you back to your sacral chakra and your throat chakra. Those are the two that deal with expression and creativity and, letting things out. So this would be a great stone for that. And then sunstone and citrine would be the other two. So citrine is a yellow one, and citrine is probably considered the all-around joy stone. Like this is like, if you needed one of them, this is the one. If you don't want to get the other two, so it would be like black tourmaline, the selenite, and then citrine. Citrine is it's all about joy. It's all about abundance. So and abundance doesn't have to mean money. Abundance means great relationships, a lot of love, good health, like those kind of things, right? So abundance really means everything. And but it also has a very joyful, lighthearted energy. And then sunstone is kind of the same thing. You're picturing the energy of the sun has been sort of trapped into this stone. And so this one, again, it's really a happy stone. It's very lighthearted. And it, how do you say? It also is supposed to help a lot when you go on vacation to make things not go wrong. So like, let's say you've burnt out, or you've managed to book yourself a vacation to go away with, bring this with you, because it will help you along that vacation to be able to stay tapped into yourself and into your own inner joy, so that you can actually enjoy where you are and what's going on. So yeah, those would be the five stones that I would say would help a lot with anyone feeling stressed or burnt out, or just not enjoying the darkness, right? Because I love fall, but the minute we turn the clocks back, I definitely start to find myself sliding, more towards the dark side. So yeah, those will be the stones that'll be in my pocket.
I'm going to buy, I don't have a sunstone, so I'm going to go and buy that sunstone, because I feel like that sounds, I mean, I have a lot of citrine and I have all the other ones, but sunstone I don't. And I like the idea of bringing the sun on vacation with you. You're like,
Yeah.
pack the sun and your little like box of things that you're packing, and bring the sunshine along with you. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's very optimistic. If I
Yeah.
if I would give it a label, it would be like an optimistic stone.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
one. Sarah says she wants me to buy
Yeah.
her too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Great.
amazing. So can you explain the process? Like, what is lithotherapy? How does that help in yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to go deeper with crystals, lithotherapy, again, you can do it to yourself. Like I do it to myself. Anytime I feel sick, I don't have the energy to actually give myself Reiki. Of course, that's the irony, right? Of energy healing is like when you feel depleted, you actually can't give it to yourself. So this is where crystal therapy comes in perfectly because all I have to do is pick up a few stones, lie on the bed, place them on me, and receive. So there's really no effort involved. And so crystal therapy is kind of related to color therapy as well, at least in the way that I was trained. Like I was trained by Kyle Gray, who is a huge medium and channel and worked with crystals for years and years, oracle cards and all that stuff. And so the way he trained us was that you can use the color therapy with the chakra system to help release, those built up tensions and stresses and blockages, energy blockages that we just get from, just from daily life through color therapy. So I work with the chakra system, and I mean, I don't know if you covered that in another. I don't want to go too deep,
A
too
little
long.
bit. Yeah, we did cover chakras in
Yeah.
general, the
Okay, good.
root and the, yeah,
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
tell us how
yeah.
you
So the
go with
main
the letter
seven.
there.
Okay. Okay, cool. So the main seven ones just have their own different color, right? Going from red to violet. And so the way he works is he has us use the opposite color to actually replenish the chakra, because most of the time we're walking around with depleted chakras. Sometimes they're overworked. But that's also another way of depleting the chakra, right? So even if the chakra is running at half speed or at like twice the speed it should be running and not balanced, either way, you need the opposite color to calm it down and bring it back into balance. So let's say if we use the solar plexus, which tends to be one of the ones that is usually depleted, and let's say the heart chakra for some people can be over giving, so over giving, not receiving. You would take, but with the solar plexus you would take, instead of using yellow, which is the color, so instead of taking a yellow crystal, I would take a purple one. Like for instance, amethyst, one of my favorite crystals, and I would place that over the solar plexus for like a good 10 minutes, maybe longer. One way of knowing when they're finished is actually when they slide off your stomach. Like usually they stay on for a while and then all of a sudden you haven't even moved and they fall off. That usually means that the chakra has done its job. But yeah, so I would use the purple chakra to actually replenish, the purple stone to replenish the chakra, to bring back the energy. And then let's say with the heart, which is normally a green chakra, you would use the opposite color, which would be red. And so then you would place a red crystal on top of it to calm it down, right? To bring it back into balance. And then when you've given yourself a treatment like that a few times in a row, and it can be a few days in a row, or it could be a couple of times a week, then when your chakras are pretty much running at, normal speed, then is when you actually want to take the chakra that corresponds, the crystal that corresponds with the color of that chakra and say, okay, now I'm ready to use citrine to increase my prosperity. Because if before your chakra was kind of running low empty tank, you'll do stuff, but you won't get as much done as if you use it when your chakra's actually like fully charged and like ready to go. So that was the way that he taught us, was to balance them first. And there's ways of doing that with pendulums to see how much they're out of whack. Or if you're a Reiki master, you can actually use your hand and you can often feel and sense where the chakras are. That's what I normally do when we have our sound bath and crystal therapy together, because I don't have time to go around with a pendulum to everybody. So I just really quickly slide it along, and then I dive in for the places that need most attention, first. So that's sort of how crystal therapy works in a nutshell.
That makes so much sense, because I would not have ever thought to like reverse it all, but it does make sense. It's like if your battery is depleted, you need to first fill it up before you then use that energy. Otherwise, you may just be re-depleting, or you're not
Yes.
charging you need a charged battery to get what you
Yeah.
need from it. Yeah. So
Well,
smart.
yeah, you might find yourself feeling more stressed after you use the citrine, let's say, than, if you had done a treatment first, because, it's going to make you feel this, like, I have to do this, I have to do that, but it's not going to be in a positive way. It's going to be depleting you, like you said, or bringing it into a more negative energy.
So for the people who are listening, can you tell us, you mentioned that purple was where the solar plexus was,
Mm.
and red, like a carnelian or something, is where you would normally have the heart, the green. So what are the other reverses? So we just know.
Right. Yeah. Well, what's really helpful to have, in which you can look up and Google at any point, is a color wheel. So that again is what he had us do, is kind of make our own color wheel to remember which colors go with what. So let's say the root chakra is red. So if we look on the color wheel, we need a green crystal to replenish it. And then the sacral chakra is orange. So we need, okay, a blue crystal to replenish that. And then we can do the yellow and the purple for the solar plexus. And then the heart was the red and green. And then turquoise is usually associated with the throat chakra. So if you want to replenish that, it's another shade of orange. So, but you know, you don't have to worry too much about the like the finer details, but it's like, again, in an orange area. And then the third eye is usually like a deep indigo. So you can, you know, another shade of orange was kind of used there. But if you don't have that, use yellow. Like that's totally cool. As long as they're in this, you know, like in a similar hue, that works. And then violet at the crown chakra, it's here, it's opposite with yellow, but I actually use a black crystal. He told us to use black there because this is kind of just a clear channel, and so the only thing that would be blocking it would be energy. So you just take it out with black. In other words, like the one of the black ones. It could be obsidian, could be black tourmaline, shungite. You know, any of those would do the job.
Amazing, amazing. So we've talked about the crystals. Now, what about how like we have two topics sort of going, the women's circles and then the crystals. So do you incorporate crystals into your women's circles, or is that sometimes two separate entities?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I have done both. I've done women's circles where I've had everyone, you know, bought as part of the package, the experience that, you know, the crystal that I feel most goes with whatever the theme of the women's circle is. And then I'll have us do a guided meditation together, and we'll cleanse and charge the crystals together. And then it will hold the energy that we all created together in circle, and they'll be able to take that away with them, and so that healing will keep going, and that beautiful energy will be kept after the circle. So that's absolutely one way that I do them. But I have also done them without, when there's so much to be covered. I sometimes don't have time to do that. So it really depends. But I try to use at least one of my modalities in some way or another in one of the circles. So like I also teach yoga. So I've had many circles where at the end, we all do yoga together to really kind of embody, in a very literal sense, what we've been talking about. Or I've done Reiki experiences, like meditations where Reiki energy is called in and we all receive it at the same time. And that brings a lot of deep healing. And yeah, so I try to incorporate all my, you know, at least one, and often it's two modalities into each circle.
So yeah, question here is, can you share a bit more about the circles? So like
Yes.
what is a woman's circle, and
Well,
what
yeah.
somebody expected, or is it such a varied thing, or can you speak to that a little bit more pointed?
Yes, for sure. Women's circles can be very varied, for one thing to mention. So it really depends on who's running the circle and what kind of experiences have they had in circle, and that usually helps guide how they do their circles. So you might find that you really like one person's style, but maybe you don't like somebody else's style, and that's totally fine. It's the same thing as like finding the right massage therapist or the right hairdresser, right? So, but they can be very different. The way that I run them is to well, yeah, like I said, I always try to incorporate a direct element of healing into it, whether it's through the crystal or through Reiki, or through yoga. Essential oils is something else I really use a lot of, because they can really take us very quickly into a more meditative state. So I usually incorporate herbs in some way. But the idea of the circle is more than just like, because some people might think, well, but I have a great group of girlfriends. Do I really need to go to a women's circle? It's a very different energy. People are, we meditate in the beginning and come into what's called empty presence. So it's where you really let go of what's on the outside and you're really focused in the moment. And then like I said, I usually have a theme for each one. So let's say I had one that was called the Durga Ma circle. Actually, I used the Hindu goddess Durga. So she's really about power and taking back your power. So that was the theme of the circle. And so we all shared. There's usually a lot of sharing that happens in a circle. So we all shared experiences of feeling powerless and how we wanted to feel more powerful. Like what did we want to go towards? And then we did a Reiki meditation to let go of what was holding us back from truly empowering ourselves, that kind of thing. So there's usually a theme that guides it. I usually also like to have them connect with their intuition in some way. So whether it's through meditation or chanting, we've done yoga, like mantra, just simple mantra meditation for like 5 minutes, really helps you to connect with your intuition more. And then that way you're able to receive. So then there's always a part where we receive a message and then we share that message because the other way that women's circles really work is with mirroring. So I see myself in you and you see yourself in me. And that's really transformative for women because they can share about anything. And that's where, again, maybe with the friends, it's not always great because maybe you're mad at one of your friends, and then you come to circle, you're able to share it with women that you don't know as well because you have a sacred and safe place. And so you share what's happening in your life and you tend to hear and see yourself in each person mirrored around you. And that is deeply healing to know that you are not the only person who goes through this problem or had this experience is very, very healing for women. Especially because we're told to have it all, to be it all, there's not a lot of work-life balance for women as compared to men because they don't have the same pressures. So women have to hold in a lot of what we feel like we're failing at. And so this is a way of sharing it and realizing you don't need to be ashamed of it anymore. And so it helps you really let go a lot of old baggage that we carry around. And it's so amazing. I have a lot of women who come to each of the circles or to like every second circle, let's say, and you can see their evolution from when they started until, the last circle that we had. You can see how much more themselves they are. It's really about coming back to your true authentic self, to really be the self that you were meant to be before, you went to school and then this happened and then your parents, were this and like, oh, this friend did that and school was too hard. Like all those things impact us and we don't realize, or most of us don't realize until we're older just how much, oh wow, like that happened and I totally stopped writing, or this happened and I gave up my music career and I decided to do that, and like it's just so easy to kind of let them go and just think, oh, that was the universe telling me I didn't need to do it, when it was actually the opposite. It was, it was a way of, that was your way of expressing yourself, but you gave it up, right? So this brings us back to who are we really as a person, inside.
Yeah,
And
and the idea that it's not necessarily your group of friends, because your group of friends already has a preconceived idea of who you are. So even if you're
exactly.
sharing something that's happening to you and it's something new that's happening within you, maybe you lost your job, or maybe your dog had to be put down, or your child's struggling at school, or you're going through a separation, or whatever your story may be, they're
Yeah.
taking that story and relating it to the person they already have formed an image of. So they're not taking that new story and detaching it from your old self. They're just
Right.
incorporating that into who they think you already are. So when you
Mm,
come to these situations with the circle, and you share, you're sharing often to people that you don't know. They haven't created that past story with you. Therefore, your share is a new share and a clean slate. But when you talk about like seeing those people over the shares and then seeing the transformation, I think that's so powerful because they saw you at one level and they saw your transformation and you sort of grew together through your transformations, but not with the past baggage, only from that
Exactly.
new first step to the last step. So that's like almost a bigger accomplishment when you see that. Then
Yeah.
your friends might say, oh well, sorry to hear that, and well, that's about as much as they're going to give you, so sorry to hear that, and they move on because they have all that history already clouding who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You totally nailed it right on the head there. And then another thing that our friends can't always do for us is know how to help best. Like sometimes listening is great, absolutely, but then sometimes we need a little bit more than that. And so that's where that circle comes in. And we find replenishment being together in circle. Women have been, and men too. I shouldn't say it's only women. I'm sure men did this thousands of years ago too, but women have been coming together in circle for thousands and thousands of years until we were kind of stopped from doing that for a while when it got scary. But now we're coming back to it. Like a lot of women are really feeling this deep call to go back to be into circle and to be in community in this way because it is so deeply transformative and powerful and like can like one of the I think probably the most healing experience I ever had was on a woman's retreat. And I've tried many different modalities and many different kinds of healing, but it was that powerful one in circle with women that I know in my gut was the biggest, soul healing I ever had in my life. And so that's why I'm so passionate to share it with other people because it's like I know what it can do, and I know how powerful it can be. And so yeah, it's just seeing that transformation happen that makes it so fun and invigorating and wonderful to share.
Yeah, I love women's circles. I love all of that coming together. And the point about women now wanting to come together again, I
Mm.
think it's because we've for a while now, we've been working more in masculine energy, if we want to say, like and competitive. Like women can be very competitive. We
Yeah.
were we went from being all in community and cooking together and that concept of being the wife at home or the mother at home to cutting that off, like just stopping that and heading into the workforce and then feeling like we needed to muscle our way through, like we needed to be just as good as the guys and or better than the guys and plus still take care of the family. And so there was like all of a sudden this was all amplified and we got competitive. The woman group all of a sudden became, I don't want her stealing my job. I worked tooth and nail to get there. Well, how
Yeah.
dare she step in and try and like we were no longer befriending our females around us. So I think that there's been also that shift that we're now coming back to say, wait a minute, whoa, 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 where did we go? What have we done? And well, there's the new age of Aquarius coming too. And I think the shift uh, in this world, in our universe, also has us coming softer. It's a woman's like the flow and that femininity is all part of that age of Aquarius. And so that we are realizing that we maybe lost touch, with some aspects that were important that we had in the past, that we didn't need to get rid of everything and trudge forward like a man in a male world. We have to come back somehow and find balance a little bit. And I think these women's circles are a great way to find balance because we all did end up in a lot of us in burnout, right? A lot of us ended up in burnout. So
Yeah.
this allows us to talk about that and converse and try to soften and get somewhere. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And most of us didn't learn in school or from our parents or wherever how to be in the body and how to actually feel what is intuition? How does it really feel? How do I know when I'm doing something that's actually not in my best interest? Like we intuition and anything kind of more feminine receptive energy has really been kind of ignored and poo-pooed for a very long time in a more patriarchal society. But now we're starting to remember and recognize like, no, this is not how I want to work. This is not how I want to live my life. I don't want to work 60-hour weeks and then go home and do childcare and then do this. Like we're women are just kind of saying no, like this is not healthy. This is not right for me. I need to find a better balance. And so that's the other great thing about the circles is that each circle that you do, it's all about going in here. At the end of the day, the answers are in here and in here, but really more in the heart center in that sense. It's not the mind that you're using, it's the intuition perhaps, but the messages are coming more from the heart space. So yeah, so that's what's really important. And that's why I like to weave that back into our everyday lives. It's like, it might sound crazy to say, well, oh, I need to decide at work, am I going to do this or this, with this project? Why not pull a card? Why not go inwards, meditate about it rather than just thinking, well, what's a pro con list? That's a very linear way of looking at something versus going inwards and actually knowing on a gut level, what really should I be doing? Which one really is going to be the more, profitable way or the more creative way, and then going from there. So,
I guess that you could also use stones for that. Like, some people feel energy, like feel weight in stones. And
yes.
if you like, I don't know, put them behind your back and close your eyes and then like feel the weight of what's calling you. And then so instead of just writing down the pros and the cons, you can sort of like feel into your own intuition, like
Yeah.
what does this feel like and what does this feel like and which decision do I want to make, using even beautiful crystals and stone.
Yes, exactly. Definitely.
I use the pendulum too. I love to use the pendulum.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't because I find I'm too much trying to like make it say what I want to say. So I sort of stopped using it for that. But I do love using it to see where energy is flowing or not flowing. I find for that it's like amazing. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't control my pendulum. I let it speak to me.
Yeah, I can't keep my mind out of it. That's when it's where my mind is too strong.
That's so
Sorry.
So is there anything else you'd like to share in regards to any tips for our crowd on even how to take care of crystals? Like do you
Oh
collect
yes.
them or is there something
Yes.
to do with your crystals or you just
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a very important thing to do with crystals is clean them. So that because the energy, it's picking up the energies around you and it's picking up, if it's in your pocket, it's picking up your energy and stuff. But then you actually want to help the crystal, disperse that energy. You don't want to keep it trapped in the crystal. I have a perfect example of this is a cousin of mine, was using a rose quartz to help her because at work she was very, very angry and very tense and stressed and whatever. And she found it super duper helpful, but she never actually cleaned it, but she kept carrying it with her every day. And one day it literally exploded. Like it literally kaboom in her office on top of her desk. And so that's what it's most people don't have an experience like that quite so explosive, but really you do need to clean it. And you might find if you don't clean it, you drop it suddenly and it breaks, or you actually reach into your pocket and you find it broken in half. That's happened to me when I've forgotten to clean my crystal. So cleaning it is very, very important. And you might as well start that when you take it home from the store, because obviously you don't know how many people have handled that crystal before it came into your hands. So there's a lot of simple ways to do that. If you do know Reiki, you can just give Reiki to the crystal. In the most foolproof way to actually do it is if you have a selenite bar. So selenite is the only crystal, in my opinion, that never needs to be cleaned. Because there's argument about other ones too, but I feel like even the other ones do once in a while need to be cleaned. But this one does not. It's really pure. It's really like angelic in a sense, like an angelic stone. And then you would just place the new crystal on top of it and leave it there for, if, a couple of hours or overnight or whatever, and then take it off, and then it's ready to go the next day. And that's how I clean all my crystals in between sessions. Like anytime I've used them on someone during a Reiki treatment, sometimes I add crystals to that treatment to accelerate or enhance the healing and restorative power. And so, to do it in between, I really need something quick. And that's the safest and quickest way to do it, because you can use water, but some of them shouldn't go in water. You can use sunlight, but some of them shouldn't go in sunlight, So unless you're aware of which one's which, that really is the foolproof way of doing it. But you can also use your own intention and power of your mind. And I've done that in circle with women, where we take the crystal, we connect with the earth, then we connect with the, source, then we draw the energy into the crystal, imagine everything going away, and then we charge it with whatever intention that we want to bring into the space. So that's the other way of doing it, that you don't have to be a Reiki master, you don't have to know any kind of energy healing, and you will never hurt the crystal by doing it like that. But definitely after you've been using it for a while, just stick it on the thing, or just remember to yourself, oh, I should really clean that, put it separately, put it somewhere else so that it's not affecting, let's say if you have all your crystals together, keep it away from those ones, until you've cleaned it, and then you can kind of bring it back into the fold. Yeah. So that's definitely something I would recommend.
Yes, well, they do have energy, that's for sure. They're filled with energy and beautiful energy. So, thank you so much for sharing your time and all of this conversation about crystals and women's circles. And I know I love when we do our sound healing and crystal lithotherapy, and the people who have participated in that have really felt the energy of that work, the energy of your Reiki work combined with the crystals. And yeah, it's not woo woo. It's not woo woo. It's energy and frequency is what it is. So, they've been around for a very long time. So they'll be here long past us. They'll still be in our earth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's yeah, lots of years of energy in little rocks. Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
how can people get a hold of you? I'll just pop it in the chat here. How do people get a hold of you, Vanessa?
Well, they can, well, my website is templerosa.com. So that's one way. And there's like a chat box at the bottom where you can either sign up to the newsletter or on my about page, you can actually talk to me. But my email is alchemy@templerosa.com. So email is guaranteed to get you to me. No problem. And I am on Instagram at Vanessa Muri _wellness. So that's another way. And yeah, so you can get in touch with me anytime if you have any questions about circles or any questions about crystals, you can do that. And I also have a PDF about crystals, actually, about like basic care and how to buy crystals and what to look for. If you would like to have that, you can also email me or sign up the newsletter and you get that sort of automatically. And yeah, I'm always happy to share about my passion, inspire other people to help better themselves as well, with
Yeah,
healing. So.
yeah. Well, they're all gonna receive an email after this summit is done, and so your information is also included in that. So, and I've written that your PDF is awaiting them when they contact you.
Oh,
So,
amazing.
thank you so much for
Thank you.
offering as well. And so this was a lovely, lovely way to close out this weekend. I think that, anyways, I'm gonna go buy the sun
Sounds
crystal.
good. Yeah.
I feel like that, and I've got a few black crystals around, the obsidians, and so I think I'm gonna go get the sun. I'm gonna go grab some sun,
Yeah.
especially for
Yeah.
these thicker months ahead. I'm gonna take a big sun.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Thank you again so much for having me, Susan. It's really been such a pleasure.
Yeah, well, thank you for closing out the weekend and being our eighth
My
and final speaker. So thank you so much. Enjoy your rest of your
pleasure.
day. I'll stop
Thank
the
you.
recording. Thank you.